It's a rainy day here in Maryland today, so I'm not going to be going outside to play, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean that there aren't still things that I can do to help train myself and my body to be a better player. There's more boring things I could do, like maybe work out or read. Obviously, you can watch videos. That's a little bit more interesting. Or you can do something to train your eye-hand coordination, which is what we're going to talk about in today's video. And that is learn how to juggle or improve your juggling skills. Juggling is something I taught myself when I was a little kid, and I really believe had an impact on my progression as a tennis player because it trains your eye-hand coordination to be more efficient, to be more precise, and it also trains your eyes and your focus on how to work better as well. I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by that as we keep going. But for right now, I'm going to give you a little lesson to show you how you can start learning how to do this and train your eye-hand coordination to be better. So what you need is just 3 tennis balls. I assume all of you at home probably have tennis balls. If not, you can use other things as well that are easy to toss and you don't mind dropping a lot and possibly breaking. But tennis balls are great. What you want to do is start off with 2 in one hand, 1 in the other. Doesn't really matter which. And the first thing we're going to do is make a 1-2 toss. You're going to begin with the hand that has 2 tennis balls. That hand's going to go first, and then your other hand is going to go second. The hand with 1 tennis ball. So that's going to look like this: 1, 2, 1, 2. So you'll finish with, again, the same hand that started with 2 tennis balls will still have 2. The hand that had 1 tennis ball will again finish with 1. As you do this, you want to be purposeful and really train yourself to do it correctly from the get-go. And you want these tennis balls, both of them, to end up right about eye level or so, maybe level with the top of your head, somewhere around there. They should both go about that height and obviously cross over so that they travel over to your opposite hand that they started with. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So in all honesty, I mean, this might take you a little bit of time to develop at least the consistency where you're able to stand in one place, have both balls travel across at about the same trajectory and about the same height, and travel over to your other hand. So after you're able to do that consistently, then you can go to 1, 2, 3. Again, you'll begin with the hand that has 2 tennis balls. Start there. And then again, 2, go over to your other hand, toss the second ball with that hand. And then third, you'll toss the third ball that you haven't tossed yet, the second ball that was in your hand with 2 to begin with. So that'll look like this: 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So just 3 at a time. That's the second progression here. After tossing all 3 balls once, you'll finish with 2 balls in the opposite hand that didn't have them the first time. So if you started with 2 balls in your left hand, after going through 1, 2, 3, you'll have 2 balls in your right hand. And I recommend that from there you go ahead and reverse it back and just take 3 at a time. Again, your goal is to make all 3 balls end up right about the same height and go at about the same, arc and trajectory. Again, after moving from, once you've got 1, 2 down, it may take a little bit of time to get 1, 2, 3. Don't be frustrated by that. In fact, expect it to take some time to develop. I'm making it look relatively easy, but if you've never done this before, it's going to take you a little bit of time to build up the coordination and the tracking necessary to be able to follow the balls back and forth and put them in the same place. And that's a big reason why this is good for your tennis game, is because there's 3 individual things going on at once, and you have to keep track of all of them simultaneously. And especially in doubles in tennis, you've got a lot of things going on at the same time that it's important to know what's happening, but not necessarily by actually watching each individual thing that's going on. And I'll talk more about that in a second. I want to talk about common issues. A lot of times, people, when they get to the 1, 2, 3, they will start tossing. They'll make a specific mistake. Very often, maybe the second toss that they have will toss way off to the side or in front, or maybe the second ball will be, or the third ball will be much higher than the first two, or something like that. Usually there's a pattern involved, and what you need to do is figure out what mistake you're making and then consciously make that correction so that we get all the balls in line and all looking the same as they go back and forth in terms of their height and their distance from your body, etc. This is very analogous to working on your tennis game. When you see you're making a mistake, you need to diagnose what it is, find out what the fix is, and then repeat it enough times that you actually make a good habit to replace your old one. So this is good practice to work on kind of a physical skill where you're using coordination, using your hands, using your eyes, etc. Once you can consistently go through all three balls in one set, then it's time to progress onto actually keeping the rhythm going. So after you can get 1, 2, 3 a couple of times, you can start actually continuing to keep the balls going back and forth. And now we're at a point where this is really, really helping your tennis game, and I'll tell you why. You might notice that my eyes are actually still looking at the camera. I'm focused at the camera lens right now as I continue to keep these three balls going. You might not know this, but your eyes only have about 2-3 degrees, just a very small percentage of your total vision is actually focused, like fine focus that you actually use to track things that you're watching or read, etc. Important things. Whatever you're focused on, that's only 2 or 3 degrees of your total field of vision. And when you have three balls going here as you're juggling, whoops, had to happen sooner or later. As you're juggling, there's three things going on at once. And even if I wanted to, it wouldn't be possible for me to take my focused vision and actually track each of these three objects. It just wouldn't be possible. I could probably take one of them if I wanted to, but that wouldn't even really help me because it still leaves two objects that are moving all at the same time that I can't track. You have to choose. And rather than choose, I'm just keeping my focused vision straight ahead, and my peripheral vision is keeping track of the balls. And my brain is telling my hands where to go and where to toss each ball. And all three of those objects are being managed at the same time using my peripheral vision. And this is big for tennis because you have to train yourself to keep your focus on one thing, and that is the ball as it's coming into your racket. Keeping your focus on the ball is really important to making good contact and being able to hit solid shots. So learning to juggle is great because it can train you to ignore, in a sense. I mean, I'm not ignoring the balls. I'm keeping track of what's happening with them, but I'm focused on the camera instead of the balls. And so when you're in the middle of a point and you're tempted to take your focus away from the ball and shift it to something like maybe your opponent or your opponent's / partner if you're playing doubles, or maybe you want to look at your target. How many of you out there have had an easy put away shot, maybe a volley up at the net, and rather than follow the ball into the racket, you've looked over at your target instead, just a split second before contact, and you missed the shot? That's super frustrating, right? Well, learning how to train yourself to be able to focus is huge for that, so that you can have the discipline to know that other things are going on, and you can still use your peripheral vision to tell what's happening. You can still see your opponent off here in the corner of your eye. You know that your target is still there, but learning how to focus on the one ball, the one most important thing, the ball coming towards your racket, and then making good contact with that is extremely, extremely important. And juggling is great, not just for the eye-hand coordination, part of it, which is obviously very good. Learning how to put your hands in the right place and just having the coordination skills involved, but the focus skills involved, learning how to use your peripheral vision also is really, really beneficial to those of you who are really taking your tennis game seriously. So learn how to juggle. I can almost guarantee it's going to help your tennis game. Don't be frustrated if it takes some time. Don't be frustrated if you get stuck on the 1-2 or the 1-2-3 for a while. Keep working at it. It'll probably take you a couple weeks or maybe even a couple months before you can get to the stage where you can keep all 3 balls going just the way that I am right now. Keep focusing on the consistency of your tosses, consistent height, and consistent distance away from your body. And that's really where the key lies. It's not like this is super complicated. It just takes some time to learn the skill. Lastly, since I did this is kind of a fun video today, I wanted to wear one of my favorite shirts, kind of a fun shirt. That is my Johnny Mac shirt from Stick It Wear. Go check out my friends at stickitwear.com. They sent me this shirt, which is kind of them, so I wanted to give them a shout out. And at home, go ahead and start working on your juggling skills. Improve your eye-hand coordination. If you have any questions or comments about this, definitely feel free to leave those right below this video. And best of luck.